Welcome back to week 2 of the Prop Shop with Brad and Kirk. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready for week two. Week one, it's kind of tough when it comes to player props. I feel like it's good to have a week to kind of see some of these team schemes and how they'll be playing. So week one was decent for me, but I think as the season goes on, we start to get a better knowledge with these teams. I think it'll continuously get better. But yeah, can't complain, man. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I think I did decent. I think I went back. I think it was 7-7, 500. And I found a couple of lines though that I definitely am going to be betting myself going into it. Like that Joe Mixon over 14 and a half rush attempts. He had 26 carries. I mean, stuff like that. If a team's leading, they're just going to give their guy the ball. But anyways, before we get into it, check out our premium plays. Pretty sure that we have some good ones. We already discussed them, and we're pretty much on the same side of things this weekend. So you can put us together, get that 2-for-1 capper promotion. But let's not hold you guys any longer. Let's get into this week's games. First game we're going to be looking at is the Giants against the Commanders.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna roll with Jaden Daniels over 52 and a half rushing yards. Look, I know I'm not being really too creative with this pick, but I feel like I'm gonna be looking at this line all season long after seeing what he did against the Bucs. The Commanders, they looked really bad against the Bucs last week, but one silver lining of this team was seeing what Jaden Daniels could do out of the pocket, see what he could do with his feet. So I think this is a favorable matchup with the Giants. I think Jaden Daniels may be in that 70 to 80 yards rushing a game this season. So I still think this is actually a number at 52 and a half. I think we're still buying low here, and I think it's just going to increase as the season goes on. So yeah, give me Daniels over rush yards.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are even going to – it's probably could even end at 54 and a half, 55. I mean, I gave out last weekend 39 and a half, and he got 88. He doubled that. But I'm looking here at value with Jaden Daniels, anytime touchdown. His feet were really the only thing that was working for that Commanders offense, and they gave him the ball at the 2-yard line and the 1-yard line. He got in 2 touchdowns that game. I'm backing him to do it at least once against the Giants, so I'm looking at Jaden Daniels anytime for plus 130. Next, we go to a Bucs versus Lions matchup. That should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. And I took this last week. I'm going to take it again. My boy Mike Evans, anytime touchdown, getting that plus odds. I think there's good values there. Good value there. The Bucs offense looked very fluid last week. I know that was against the Commanders, who, coming in, I don't think anyone's thinking too high of that team's defense. But kind of same with the Lions. I'm not too high on this Lions defense either. I think we see a high scoring game. I think the stars come out. And look, if the Bucs get in the red zone, man, 10 yards or closer to the end zone, Mike Evans is going to get a look. He may get a couple looks throughout this game in the end zone. So I think at plus money, let's continue to take it. Give me Mike Evans anytime.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like it. I think the Lions here are honestly on upset alert. But my play for this one's going to be Rachaad White under 44 and a half rushing yard. I think they're going to be down most of the game. I could see him going over in his receiving yards, but the Lions, they have a good rush defense. Kyron Williams didn't do too much, I don't think, last weekend from what I remember. And Rachaad White historically against the Lions is not rushed well at all against them. So I'm going under 44 and a half rushing yards in this one. And now we head over to New England.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jacoby Brissett under 17 and a half pass completions here at plus money. Brissett only finished with 15 completions last week against the Bengals. I think this Patriots team, their identity is run the ball, play good defense. I expect this one to be another kind of slow, ugly game. Seattle secondary also looked pretty solid against the Broncos as well. So I think this is another game where, Patriots will hand that ball off, and 17 and a half. I don't know. That seems a bit too high after he just got 15 completions in his last game. So I'll take that there.
Yeah, I'm with you in this one. I think it's going to be a slugfest. And I'm looking here at Geno Smith under 1.5 passing touchdowns. The Pats didn't allow one on the road last week, as Zach Moss was the only touchdown scorer for the Bengals. And 1.5, there's no way that the Patriots allow 2 passing touchdowns in this game. Maybe a rushing touchdown to Zach Charbonnet. But also, Kenneth Walker has been ruled out. So I think they might pass a little more. But as you said, it's going to be a slow, really rugged type of game. So that's my pick in this one. And now we just learned that Christian McCaffrey is going to the IR. So this could be a lot more interesting. But Jordan Mason has looked like he can step up to the plate.
Yeah, man, that's wild news about McCaffrey. Feel bad for those fantasy owners that took him number 1 overall. But for this one, man, I'm looking at Aaron Jones. I'm going to go over 3.5 receptions. look, man, after we saw that Niners team destroy the Jets on Monday, they're going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem once again. I think this Niners defense is one of the best in the league, and I think Sam Darnold's going to have a tough time tomorrow. So I think he's going to need to use that safety net with Aaron Jones. We saw Aaron Rodgers have to do that on Monday. Breece Hall cleared both his receptions line and receiving yards line. So I expect a similar situation for Aaron Jones here.
Yeah, as you said, I think Sam Darnold is going to have a tough time, and I think 246.5 passing yards is going to be way too much. They're going to have to run the ball a little bit more if they want to stay in this game, stay competitive. But we saw what this team did to Aaron Rodgers. He didn't. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Yes, it was his first game in about 2 years, but still Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day, and he couldn't really do much besides one drive in the second quarter and then late to Allen Lazard. So I'm going with Sam Darnold under 246.5 passing yards, especially if Jordan Addison is rolled out. I'm not quite sure on his status right now. But next we go over to the Jets versus the Titans.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go Garrett Wilson over 68.5 receiving yards. You know, even though the Jets didn't look good week one, I think that was because the Niners are just that good. We saw Rodgers and Wilson. They had a good connection that first half, and then things really slowed down with them. So I see this game playing out. They'll have that connection this whole game. I think Garrett Wilson goes off. Should be a favorable matchup for him and Rodgers in this one. So I'll take his over receiving yards.
Yeah, I got a lot of stock in Garrett Wilson. I did like, honestly, him getting those 11 targets. So I think he's primed for a big breakout game here in week 2. I'm going on the other side. The Jets, their defense did not look good against the Niners, but we know they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And Will Levis, he threw 2 picks against the Bears, some really, really bad decisions. I'm just going to be simple here and back them to throw 1 pick at minus 145. It's a little bit juiced, but you can put this in a parlay piece or something, and I think you should just be just fine with that one. Next, we're going to head over to the Raiders versus the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going to take Minshew over yards. I actually took him under yards last game. He got over it. He got in like the 250s, I believe, and I'm going to take him over. I think this number's a bit too low. Don't get me wrong, that Ravens defense is solid, but I mean, they're 9.5-point favorites in this one. This Raiders team will be playing from behind. They will be needing to throw the ball. So I don't know. I didn't really love how the Raiders running backs looked either. So I think Minshew will have enough pass attempts to be able to clear this number.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those are going to go to Brock Bowers, who actually looked like his security blanket in week 1 besides Devontae Adams. He looked good. He's what the hype is about. I don't know if he'll have all those stats this year with Gardner Minshew, but as you said, the Ravens are the biggest favorite here in week 2. They're going to have to throw a lot, and I think Brock Bowers gets at least 4 catches in this one. So that's going to be my pick in this one. Now we head over to Dallas for 2 1-0 teams.
Yeah, I'm going to take Derek Carr under 227.5 passing yards. I think this is a good sell high spot for Derek Carr. Last week, he looked great against the Panthers, but the Panthers are garbage. I'm not putting too much stock into that performance. Now he plays this Cowboys team that looked incredible on the defensive side of the ball last week. I think Carr comes down to earth. I think the Saints team comes down to earth. I think everyone's just a little bit overvalued on the Saints after that week 1 performance. So I'm looking to fade kind of everything Saints in this one. So give me Carr under 227.5.
Yeah, for me, this looks kind of like an Ezekiel Elliott touchdown type of game, and we're getting pretty good odds. CeeDee Lamb, I was looking at that, but he was like minus 150. But in this offense, I trust a running back to score. I mean, when Zeke was there 2-3 years ago, he was scoring 10 touchdowns a year. Tony Pollard then scored a lot of touchdowns, and I think they'll be able to score at least 2-3 touchdowns against the Saints. As you said, I think the Saints are a little bit overhyped, overvalued as well. So I think Zeke gets in the back of the end zone here in this one. Now we head back to Green Bay for no Jordan Love game.
Yeah, no Jordan Love game. And, yeah, it was interesting to see Zeke. He actually looked pretty good. I didn't expect him to kind of come back and make an impact like that. So it should be interesting to see what he does throughout the year. But for this one, give me Jonathan Taylor over 72.5 rush yards. He didn't hit this number last week, but he got 100% of the carries for the Colts, which is rare these days. You know, more teams are operating with more of a committee of running backs. So to see Jonathan Taylor get 100% of the rushes, he's going to be a beast this year. We saw Saquon torch his Packers defense last week for 100 yards. With Jordan Love being out, I actually do think the Colts, will be up in this game. They will be needing to use that run game. So I actually think this is a good spot for Jonathan Taylor to have himself a game here.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy when I saw that stat that no other running back got a carry. So yeah. I like that. And I'm looking here at Malik Willis under 164.5 passing yards. He started 3 career games, never gone over 100 passing yards in any of those 3 games. This line's already moved down from around 180 to 164.5. By the time you guys see this video, it might be down to 160 or something, but I'm still hammering the under regardless. He doesn't have any chemistry with any of these receivers. Jaden Reed, I think, is questionable as well, so that could be an impact. And I think they're going to try a lot of different running routes. I mean, they might have Jaden Reed on the option or something. So Willis, he's not going to be passing a lot. So I'm going with the under passing yards in this one. Now we go to a game in Cleveland or in Jacksonville against the Browns.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite props of the day, and it's Trevor Lawrence under 32.5 pass attempts. Trevor Lawrence only had 21 pass attempts last week. Now his line's set at 32.5, basically 12 more pass attempts or 11 more. That's just crazy to me. They ran the ball on more than half their snaps, the Jaguars did. So, look, man, I expect this Jags-Browns game to be a defensive battle. I think both these teams will be kind of risk averse in this one, and I think we see a more of a running game for both teams. So after seeing what Trevor Lawrence did last week, I just think this line's a bit too high here. So give me under 32.5.
I agree. I think it's going to be a really big running game, especially for the Jags. I think there might be a changing of the guard sooner than later, and I'm looking at Tank Bigsby over 30.5 rushing yards. Travis Etienne has had his fair share of fumbling issues in his career, and when he fumbled last game, it was Tank Bigsby that came in. He rushed for, I think, 73 yards on 10 carries. So he only needs to do half of that, and if he gets 10 carries, I think he'll be able to get 30.5 rushing yards. So I'm going with the over in that one. Now we head over to Carolina for the Chargers game.
Yeah, man, I'm going to take rookie Ladd McConkey over here. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. But Ladd led the Chargers in targets in target share in week 1. I kind of was looking at this kid in the beginning of the season. I dropped him on my fantasy team pretty late. I think he's going to be a solid piece for this team just because this Chargers wide receiver room is so slim. So I think he gets a bunch of targets in this game. And look, he's matched up with the Panthers that just allowed 47 points to Derek Carr. 38.5 receiving yards. That's not too much. So I think this is a favorable matchup for Ladd, and I think he sees the targets to get this number.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think you'll get at least 40 yards. But I'm going to look in here at the Chargers kicker, Cameron Dicker. I do think the Panthers defense will be a little bit better at home than they were in game 1. It's hard not to improve there. So I'm going to go with – I don't think they have enough to stop this Chargers offense, even though they're not the most talented offense out there. I definitely think Cameron Dicker is going to get 2 field goals in this one. It is a little bit juiced, but as I said, sometimes as we're doing all these games, we love some games more than others. And this is a game it was hard for me to find value, and this is just where I found it. So that's going to be my play in this one. Now we head over to Arizona for the first 4:05 game in the slate.
Yeah, both of us are on Cooper Kupp here. I feel like the whole world is going to be on Cooper Kupp, and for good reasons. I think he absolutely goes off in this game. We saw vintage Cooper Kupp last week put up 110 yards on 14 receptions. I think he had like 5 receptions in the first quarter. With Puka being out, he's going to get a ton of targets. He's playing against his Cardinals secondary. This should just be a monster game for Cooper Kupp. I don't know how he doesn't hit over all his lines here. I think Vegas is going to get torched with Cooper Kupp this week because it just – we'll see. We'll see, but it kind of seems too easy,
Yeah, it's definitely one of those where I feel like there's a lot of people on it. So both of us are on it. But yeah, I hope we don't get torched by this one. You basically said everything we needed to be said. Cooper Kupp is in for a monster game here as Puka Nacua is out. And the Cardinals are actually favored. So if they're down, they're going to throw even more to Cooper Kupp. So should be an interesting one, though. I'm really excited for this one. Now we head over to Denver for Bo Nix against Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. I don't know if it's been announced. I think it's Justin Fields, though.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what they do there. I bet Russ kind of wants his revenge coming back to Denver here. But I'm going to go Bo Nix under 177.5 passing yards. I'm not a Broncos fan, but I do live in Denver, so I want Bo Nix to be good. I think it'll be good for the city, but man, it didn't look great week 1 for him. Last week against the Seahawks, he only put up 138 yards. Now he's matched up with the Steelers defense. I think TJ Watt absolutely torments this kid. I don't think he gets over 150 yards in this one. I think Bo Nix may have a future in this league, but I think it's going to take a few weeks, and I don't think we see him have a good game week 2 against the Steelers. I don't know. I think this is going to be an ugly game. So give me that under 177.5 passing yards.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough game for his home debut against the Steelers, who I think might have the best defense in the league this season. I think they have the best defensive player now that Aaron Donald's retired. I mean, TJ Watt looked like inhuman in that game against Atlanta. He really carried that whole defense by himself. I think the Steelers are going to win this one, so that's why I'm going with Najee Harris over 15.5 rushing attempts. They kind of didn't really release Justin Fields as much as we have seen in the past, so I think they play more conservative here, and Najee Harris is just going to get the ball and run all game long. So I think he'll get at least 20 carries in this one. I think this is one of my favorite free picks today. So that's my pick in this one. Now we head over to the disappointing Bengals against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I forgot we had one more game here, but I'm gonna take Pacheco over 62.5 rush yards. We saw the Patriots run all over this Bengals defense with Ramondre Stevenson dropping 120 yards on them last week. I think Pacheco's better than Stevenson. I think this Chiefs O-line is better than Stevenson. So imagine what Isaiah Pacheco could do. I really think this Bengals team is missing DJ Reader a lot, and that kind of showed. So if Ramondre could get 120 yards, I think Isaiah could get 63 yards against this Bengals defense here.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking here at Rashee Rice. I wish Kelsey had a bigger game one, but it looks like Rashee Rice may be Mahomes' favorite target this year. And Xavier Worthy might be a close second. I mean, Kelsey, Justin Watson, Noah Gray, they all got involved here in that first game. I think Kelsey emerges more, but Rashee really looked like his go-to guy. And I definitely think he has another 6-7 receptions in him in this game. So I'm going Rashee Rice over 5.5 receptions. And for our last game, we go over to Sunday Night Football in Houston.
Yeah, give me a CJ Stroud under a half an interception here. CJ Stroud has played a total of 18 games in his career, and he's only thrown an interception in 3 of those games. One of his best attributes is his football IQ, his ability to take care of the ball. I understand this Bears defense looked incredible in week 1, but I can't pass up taking a shot on CJ to continue to take care of the ball. I basically even odds at that minus 115 price tag. The numbers don't lie. The statistics don't lie. He doesn't throw interceptions much, so I think it's a good spot here for him.
Yeah, especially at home in a game they're going to be winning. I think they're going to be running the ball a lot more later in the game. And last week I had Joe Mixon over 14 runs. He had 26 carries. It's risen a little, but not enough. I think he gets at least 20 carries in this one. They're almost a touchdown favorite, so they should be winning. And I think Joe Mixon probably finds the back of the end zone again. So that's going to be my play in this one. Thank you guys for watching this. We appreciate all you guys that watch this. Leave your favorite plays in the comments. Anything else you want to add before we hop off?
No, man. I think it was good. I think we that show was nice and efficient, and I feel like there's a lot of values. I'll definitely be taking some of Kirk's plays here. I feel like it's going to be a good week 2 for us. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you guys, and have a good Sunday. Let's win some money together. Peace out.